Why are we often intrigued by the thought of nightfall, and why does it seem to invoke such a unique sensation? This simplistic question is deeply interwoven in the rich tapestry of our human existence. Fear, just a four-lettered term, yet bearing a universally recognized weight. It's not merely an emotion but a survival mechanism that's been pivotal to our evolution. Ages back, our ancestors used fear as a shield against predators, as an early warning system for imminent threats. Fear was their lifesaver, an impetus that pushed them to find refuge as the sun bid adieu, and the world around them often embraced the twilight. Why twilight? Why does it trigger such a profound reaction in us? To understand this, we have to delve deep into the core of our existence, into the primal instincts handed down from generation to generation. The twilight, by its very nature, signifies the unpredictable. It represents the unknown, the absence of light, the unseen world. It's what lies beyond the protection of our hearths, homes, and wisdom. In the presence of light, we can see, we can comprehend, we can know. But in the twilight, our senses are subdued, our understanding is restricted, we are left exposed, vulnerable. And it is in this vulnerability that fear finds. This fear of twilight isn't unique to humans. Many animals also display a form of nyctophobia, a term from the Greek words nyctos, meaning night, and phobos, meaning fear. It's a widespread fear, one that transcends age, culture, and geography. It's a fear as ancient as time itself, one that has been intricately woven into our collective consciousness. Truly, our apprehension of twilight seems inherently programmed within us. But why is that the case? This question is our launching pad into the intriguing world of fear and how it shapes our perception of twilight. So let's delve deeper into the enigma of twilight and maybe during the process, understand ourselves a bit more. Let's delve into the enigmatic expanse of the human mind. The heart of fear is a psychological response to the perceived threat. This ancient instinct, evolution's self-defense tool, ensures our safety. Imagine being an early human, sharing a world rife with predators. Every rustle of a leaf, every snap of a twig could indicate an imminent danger. As a result, your body readies for a fight or flight situation. Adrenaline pumps through your veins, your heart beats faster, and your senses sharpen. This heightened state of alert is the quintessence of fear, our innate survival mechanism. Fear does not always have rational roots, primarily because our brains prioritize survival over logic. We are instinctively poised to react to potential threats even if they are not immediately obvious. The unknown in particular triggers potent fear. When we can't predict or understand something, we fear it. And darkness is the perfect habitat for the unknown. If we can't see the potential dangers lurking just beyond our sight, our minds start envisioning terrifying scenarios. Our sight, the primary sense, becomes handicapped in the dark. We can't see what lies ahead, and our brains interpret this uncertainty as a possible threat, echoing our ancestors who were prey to nocturnal predators. Darkness represented danger, and they learned to fear it. This fear was passed down through generations, forming a part of our shared consciousness. So why does darkness stir fear in some, but not in others? The answer is not in the darkness itself, but in what it implies. For some, darkness could bring back memories of a traumatic event, or it could evoke feelings of defenselessness. For others, the fear could be due to childhood fears or cultural beliefs. It's not the lack of light that frightens, but the possible threats hiding in the shadows. Essentially, fear serves as our brain's security alarm, alerting us to potential dangers and gearing us up for action. It's not perfect, and can often be triggered by harmless factors like darkness. Yet, upon closer inspection, it is a fundamental part of our human identity. Fear is our protector, but how does darkness fit into this framework? Imagine a world cast under a veil of uncertainty, a tapestry of mystery, where potential threats skulk. This unnerving world is not simply born fancies but a reality our forebears faced every day. As suns sank beneath the horizon, they were immersed into teeming with shadows and whispers, a nocturnal territory rife with peril. The murmuring rustles in the leaves, the fleeting movements detected, these were the harbingers of lurking hazards. In the ambiguity, these threats remained cloaked. The fear was not of the enigmatic shroud itself, rather, what concealed within it. This fear was not. It was a matter of survival. Those who were vigilant, attentive, and fearful during the twilight hours had a higher probability of witnessing the dawn. The caution for the unknown, the inherent dread of the dark, was ingrained into their DNA, transmitted forward through the annals of time. Fast forward to the present day, We have subdued the darkness with artificial illumination, enveloped ourselves in cutting-edge technology, and armed ourselves with intelligence. Yet, that archaic fear, that caution for the still resonates in our hearts and minds. It's why we recoil in a room the moment light fades. It's why we find on tenterhooks when the power fails. It's why our heart thunders at the noise of an enigma deep in the night. Thus, our fear of the dark is a survival mechanism, a heritage passed down through generations. It's a remnant from an era when the unknown was akin to danger. We have progressed, and so have fears. But that's a story for another day. For now, let's acknowledge the might of the unknown, remembering fear is not merely an emotion but a survival instinct. In our modern times, a sense of disquiet persists even in well-lit areas. The sentiment is relatable to many of us, even if we're not consciously it. In this era of technological advancements and constant artificial light, it seems perplexing that we still harbor this age-old fear. Presently, our apprehension of the darkness isn't about tangible threats lurking in the corners, but revolves around the fear of the unknown. This, returning home after an evening social event. The city streets are quiet, the lights are dim but present, and the shadows seem to dance on the pavement in a subdued glow. Despite being that your locality is safe, an uneasy uncertainty creeps up on you. This feeling isn't about fearing physical harm, but rather, the fear of the unknown. Our minds are programmed to fear what we don't understand, and darkness represents all things unfamiliar and unseen. However, the lack of visual stimuli can significantly enhance our other senses, like hearing, smell, and touch. This amplified sensory perception can make us feel vulnerable, potentially inducing anxiety. Ordinary sounds like the rustling of leaves, the distant hum of traffic, or the faint smell of rainfall, all these everyday incidents can seem disconcerting when surrounded by dimness. Our fears have evolved with us. They're no longer about physical dangers that our ancestors faced, like wild animals or enemy tribes. They've transformed into something more complex, more psychological. We fear what we cannot see, predict, or comprehend. Dimness serves as a symbol of these fears, an indistinct canvas where our worries and insecurities are reflected. So, in and where we've brightened the night with artificial lighting and have devised security measures for protection, why does this fear of dimness persist? It's because this fear is deeply ingrained in our psychology, a part of our survival instinct, a remnant of our past that has infiltrated our present lives. Given that our fears are more psychological than physical, how can we overcome this apprehension? No simple answer to this question, but understanding the nature of our fear is the first step towards conquering it. Addressing a fear, particularly a profound fear like the fear of darkness, may appear overwhelming. Yet it's absolutely achievable. In fact, there are numerous approaches to confront this fear and light up the shadows, metaphorically. One common method is exposure therapy. This technique includes progressively exposing oneself to the source of fear, in this case shadowy areas. Start with a dimly lit room, and gradually enhance the level of obscurity. The goal is to grow more relaxed with these shadowy areas and understand that they do not inherently signify danger. Think of it as gently stepping into the pool before diving in. This method is not the only device at your disposal to tackle this fear. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can be outstandingly useful. This therapeutic method aims to modify thought processes that trigger fear. So, regarding the fear of shadowy areas, it could involve challenging the idea that these areas are threatening or hazardous. It's about reconfiguring how your brain perceives and reacts to these shadowy areas. Further, the power of mindfulness not be overlooked. Being entirely absorbed in the present moment can assist in diminishing fear. When we are in shadowy areas, our minds often leap to the worst possible scenarios. However, concentrating on the present moment, the feel of the chair you're sitting on, or the melody of your breathing can help pacify these anxious thoughts. It's vital to note that if your fear of shadowy areas is severe, it may be beneficial to seek professional guidance. A mental health professional can navigate you through these methods and offer support on your journey. Seeking aid is not an indication of frailty. Instead, it's a brave move towards mastering your fear. Always remember this. Fear of shadowy areas is natural and common, but it's not unbeatable. With the correct tools and tactics, we can all learn to confidently navigate through these shadowy areas. So, should we continue to shy away from absence of light? We embark on a journey to demystify fear, the psychology behind it, current threats and contemporary fears, and to understand how to confront these fears. We investigate how fear, especially fear of the dark, is a fundamental part of the human psyche, designed to shield us from potential perils. However, we also comprehend that this fear can be controlled, understood, and eventually defeated. It's crucial to remember that fearing the dark isn't illogical or juvenile, but a normal response to the unfamiliar. This fear is a survival mechanism deeply embedded in our DNA, a legacy from our forefathers who lived in a world populated with real, immediate threats hidden in the dim light. But, in our present society, such threats are less frequent, and the fear often exceeds the actual risk level. Similarly, we explore the modern-day fears that are derived from our primal fear of the dark, such as the fear of crime or accidents. We analyze how our minds amplify these fears, metamorphosing the innocuous into the intimidating and simple shadows into threatening figures. But most significantly, we delve into the strategies to conquer this fear. By understanding, facing, and creating positive relations with it, we can alter our view of the dark from a source of fear to a topic understanding. So, should we remain apprehensive of the dark? The answer is not a simple yes or no. It hinges on our understanding of our fears, acknowledging them and mastering how to manage them. It's about accepting that the dark isn't an evil force, but a part of our world, a part of our everyday life. It's about accepting the dark, not as a symbol of fear and the unknown, but as a depiction of the vastness and mystery of our cosmos. It's about viewing the dark, not as a void of light, but as a backdrop for our dreams and aspirations. That the dark isn't something to dread, but a part of our world that we can learn to understand and appreciate.